Welcome back to the channel. Bonus clip for you guys today. Basically just ranting, talking about a parent consultation that I kind of just had, parent training that I just had that was enlightening. It was eye-opening. It was powerful, to steal the words from the mother of what we kind of went through in this 4-hour session. Quick overview. So yeah, kiddo was just engaging in behaviors. 8-year-old child, a lot of non-compliant episodes, attention-seeking behaviors, just a lot going on, engaging in negative verbal aggression, idiot, you're stupid, I hate you, I want to kill you. All this stuff kind of directed towards the parents, while, you know, he has a daily activities that parents have outlined for him throughout the day. So to start it off, basically, I walked parents through extinction procedure. I walked them through withholding reinforcement from, you know, previous behaviors that were reinforced, such as the negative talk, such as calling parents idiot, they're stupid, I hate you, I want to shoot somebody, you know, putting all that on extinction. Also working through parents' issues, expectations, and concerns that they had for their child. So this gonna be all over the place. I'm gonna jump here, gonna jump there. So just try and roll with me if you can. So working through all that, those episodes, he had a non-compliant episode for roughly 45 minutes. On to the next task, maybe took 25-30 minutes. The next task after that took maybe 15 or 10 minutes. But literally walking through mom specifically, who had placed the initial demands, walking her step by step on how to do these things. During our feedback period, she broke down in tears. I think at that point she recognized what she has been doing. She recognized that it hasn't been effective, and she recognized the implications that it could have in the future. And so by me being able to adjust or alter her application or her interventions for me to explain to the parents the functions of the child's behavior and how they're responding has not been effective, and then giving them resources to be effective in vivo, I think was really eye-opening to the parent to notice what, as she said, we've been doing wrong this whole time. I countered her with, it's not that you haven't been doing it correctly, is that you haven't had the resources necessary to expose you to these strategies. And so going through these strategies in vivo, I'm coaching her. The kiddos, oh, you're stupid, I hate you, listen to me, are you deaf? And I'm coaching mom, hey, don't respond, continue with the task. As long as the task is being completed at this moment, we're focusing on compliance. And so the kiddo is engaging in all these negative behaviors. I'm talking to mom through it, giving her kind of nonverbal cues. Good job. Okay, come out, reset. Let's, kind of redo this. And so changing how she responded in the moment was different than how she's been responding the past 8 years. She noticed that those past 8 years that the behavior hasn't necessarily decreased or stabilized to acceptable or appropriate levels that she would like it. And by altering, and what I showed her today gave her, foreshadowing into the future. It gave her relief. Like she said, it was powerful what we talked about. And so what we talked about was the hold that this kiddo's behaviors put the whole family dynamic in. And so following a daily routine put a strangle on what mom did, what dad did, and what little brother did on a daily basis. So their attitude or their daily schedule was always altered by if the if the client had a great day, if he had a good morning, if he followed his chores, if he got ready for school, if he, ate his breakfast. All that was predetermined by the kid's behavior. And I told parents it should not be that way. That's my personal opinion. I don't think a child should dictate how the parents run their household or how they should react to certain behaviors or how bickering amongst mom and dad is because of the behavior that the kiddo has caused or that the behavior is engaging in. And so we talked about, I think specifically the first point I brought up to mom is she flat out called it that she's been helping him too much. She said that is possibly, the mothering, the nurturing side, but she also told me, without even having to highlight it, that it's enabling him. That's one thing that I tell parents throughout this parent training process through ABA, is that as much as we intend to do good, as much as we intend to help or assist, there's also a level of dependency that our kiddos now have because I know that my mom or my dad is going to help me. And this moment, the mom understood the dependency and how it was now enabling the child to engage in these negative behaviors. He engaged in those negative behaviors because mom attended to that behavior immediately. Dad attended to that behavior immediately. The I hate you, I wish you weren't here. They would always say, hey, you're not supposed to say that, so why are you saying it? So even responding or giving that attention is allowing the kiddo to get that attention even though he is saying something negatively. And so immediately with that, once I heard that, I told mom, hey, the next time you go in there, do not respond to any of those negative comments. And so he goes, oh, I hate you. I don't need your help. You're stupid. You're an idiot. As she's kind of helping make the bed. And so with those comments, mom is ignoring, I'm hearing her. He goes, are you stupid? Are you deaf? Can you not hear me? Mom continues to make the bed. The kiddo is complying throughout all this. And then mom highlights, hey, thanks for pulling that sheet over. Thanks for, putting your pillows up there. So she's ignoring the behavior, that negative of verbal aggression, but she's reinforcing the appropriate one. So she's giving attention to the appropriate behavior, but she's ignoring the negative comments, the negative verbal aggression that she is getting from her son at that moment. Of course, when she came down and we talked about it, that was a sticking point for her. She says, I don't want him to talk like that. I don't want him to say that. What if he says that to his teacher? And then I brought up natural consequences, which once again, in my opinion, I think are one of the biggest if you want to say, learning mechanisms in life. I always tell you guys that ABA is a life hack. It's not only for our kiddos on the spectrum. I can assume or guess that when you were growing up and you rode your bike and you scraped your knee or you bumped your head, maybe the next time you wore knee pads or you put a helmet on. The natural consequence of you banging your head, maybe splitting your head open, you're going to put something over that to protect it. So that natural consequence, no one had to tell you about it. No one had to steer you in the right direction. It happened because of the pain that was inflicted through that. So now let me use an antecedent strategy, if you want to say, to protect myself. And so mom says, okay, what if he talks like that to his teacher? I goes, well, then he gets detention. I mean, I don't know what schools are like nowadays, but maybe he gets detention. Maybe he loses recess. Maybe he goes to the principal's office. And she goes, you're right. I can't protect him forever. And I said, of course. We can protect him in the household, but when he's 15, 16, 17, he's in high school, when he is getting a job, when has a manager, when he maybe is managing people, you can't just do what you want because you want. There are natural consequences to behavior. If an authority figure, if a police officer tells him to stop or to do this or to do that, there are ramifications that are bigger than just not responding in the moment. And I told her, and I go on, that our kiddos do not have a badge that they wear that says, hey, I have autism, or hey, I have a disability, treat me differently. And I took her back on another story of where I was with a kiddo in Target, a bigger kiddo, 5'8", maybe 225 pounds, nonverbal. He engaged in a lot of physical stereotypy. So he would jump up and down on his toes, flap his hands. He would even sometimes get on the ground and start wiggling. And so we're in Target one day. They know us. We've been there, a few times. And he bumps into this gentleman walking by us in the aisle. And the guy turns around and he goes, "What the fuck is your problem?" And so I put my hand around my client and I'm like, "Oh, hey, my bad, it's no big deal, let's just keep walking." And so at that point, probably 3 years into my journey of ABA, I noticed that I need to change. I need to go hard at home. I need to go hard in the variables that I can control, because people in the community do not care. People in the community, this older man was ready to fight my nonverbal client who was on the spectrum because of bumping shoulders in an aisle in Target. He didn't assess the situation. He didn't say, "Oh, my bad, I'm sorry." He went straight to aggression. And so my mindset changed as a BT at that point, and then going on to be a supervisor, now being a BCBA, is I want to prep parents and children for the real world, because that's what matters. It doesn't matter what I can do in home. It doesn't matter, with the controlled variables in my house, in my room, in my backyard. It really matters is when you're on the bus going to school, when you're applying for a job, when a customer is rude to you, when all these strategies that we've taught ABA in home, we want to transfer those into the community. And so that's why I go so hard at home when I am with my clients. It's very black and white for me at home, because I want to prep them for the big picture. And that's all I kept telling Mom is, as I'm zooming out, you guys have been in this for 8 years. That's all you know is your household, how you discipline, how you use this strategy, how you do this and do that. I'm the outside lens to provide insight or feedback or recommendations on how we could alter the way you're using those strategies to be more effective in your household. Because they told me that, okay, he's perfect in school, he's an angel in school, but once he gets home, this is when we see the majority of the behaviors. And so we identify that he is making choices. He's choosing to do these things at home. He can do these things out at school with his teacher, with his friends, with his peers, but once I get home, I'm going to wild out. I'm going to act out. I'm going to do these things because I know the consequences, or I know that, my parents are going to give into my behavior at this point. And so highlighting that for moms, they both agreed that it's not as small as the task may be, as small as the moments may be that we actually went through today within that 4 hours, which was brushing your teeth, getting dressed, cleaning out his pet, his turtle cage, whatever you call it, and making his bed. That took 4 hours. It was deeper than just compliance. It was deeper than just mom putting the behavior on extinction. I think this switch and what I talked to the family about during, after all these episodes and behaviors occurred was, this is a switch. I think they got that aha moment where it was a switch on how they parent. It was a switch on how we're going to utilize moment by moment. We're going to try this. We're going to try that. We're going to see if this works. We're going to see if that works. They wanted to stop what they've been doing and turn the corner on kind of the strategies that we talked about, because mom saw it. And when she broke down in tears, she understood it. She wanted peace. She just wanted things to go right. And she was frustrated because it hasn't been that way for 8 years. It hasn't been peaceful in 8 years. There's been no sense of, I wouldn't say a lack of progression, but the progression that she aims, or that her and her husband aim to see with their child, because of the way that they have been maybe prompting, or the way that they've been assisting when not necessary. So a lot of the structures and teachings and things that they've been doing, she had a moment of realization, like, I need to change. We need to change as a household. And so that moment, I was able to guide her through it amidst the tears and say that, okay, now that we know better, now we have to do better. And it's not even, and the word better, let me take that back. It's not being better or something is less than or more. Now we have the exposure to new strategies. Now, throughout ABA, she had an app. She had, texts that I would send her via telehealth and, all that. And all that is fine as well. But being in the moment, live with them, giving them immediate feedback, training, scenarios, they were over grateful. I can't count the amount of times they showed gratitude throughout this entire process on a Saturday morning that I was there with them dealing with this behaviors, because they deal with this on a daily basis. And so I actually canceled the rest of my sessions because there was a moment that needed to be had. I was there for a reason, and my other 2 clients that I may have missed out on, that was okay, because these parents needed me today. These parents needed me to direct them. The tears and the emotion showed me that they've been waiting for something to happen, and this was it. And I was a part of it. I was able to guide them in the right direction. I was able to highlight things that we could have adjusted and done better. And throughout that process, like parents said, it was just illuminating and identifying the main function of the kiddo's behavior as attention seeking. We were able to put it on extinction. We were able to ignore the behavior, but not the child. And I know I mentioned last week with our strategies is we're not ignoring the child. We're ignoring the behavior that they're engaging in. I told parents, we're only reacting to what the kiddo is doing, right? If the kiddo did A, B, and C, he could have finished all that within 10 minutes. It took him 4 hours because he wanted us to go in there. He was looking for attention. He was banging on the floors. He was knocking pictures off the wall. He was throwing things down because he wanted a reaction. He wanted mom's assistance with things that we knew he was capable of doing. And I told parents I might be a little one-sided, or like I said, I'm very black and white on this, but if I've seen my client do it one time, I'm going to expect them to do it from every point after that. Of course, there's going to be time constraints and I might need to help tie the shoe really quick. But if I've seen you do it once, then my expectations, because you are capable of doing those things, you're going to do this forever, for the rest of, the duration of the session, for the duration of your life, whatever it may be. There's no need for me to increase my prompts when I've seen you do it independently. That makes no sense. I'm not teaching you anything but enabling you. And so by highlighting that, the parents were made aware that even though I want to love, even though I want to mother, even though I want to nurture my child, I'm enabling his behavior. And with that, it was a moment during those episodes where mom once again came back down because he wasn't doing what he was supposed to do, and he was attention seeking. So she removed herself from the situation, and she let me know that there were some things that she couldn't believe that she's been engaging in so long, but now that today it made sense. And so providing that clarity for her and her husband allowed us to pivot as a team. It allowed us a breakthrough as a team. And so I told parents that it's exhausting, right? And that's one thing that we highlighted today was the exhaustion that mom and dad were going through on a daily basis. I noticed today that moms, prior to my interactions or feedback, she was solely focused on her son. He can do all those 4 chores that I mentioned earlier, but her focus was, okay, let me help you do this. Let me help you do that. Let me help you do this. Let me help you do this right here. Do that. And I said, Mom, hey, can he do all these things? She said, yeah, okay, well, here, step back. And I told her, hey, go finish what you need to do, because right now he has you on a string. And so mom said, get dressed. He put on his pants, didn't put on his shirt. Mom, I need you. I need your help. Come here. Come help me do this. And I asked mom, hey, can he do that? Can he put his shirt on before? Can he put his shirt on, and has he done it before? She said, yes. I said, okay, then you need to go back and do what you were doing. And she says, but he's asking me for help. I say, why is he asking me for help if he knows how to do it? Because he wants my attention. Okay, we're not going to provide that attention because he's gaining it in a negative manner. Right now, he has you on a string. Okay, Mom, I have my shirt on. Can you help me with my socks? No, you can do that. I need to do what I need to do. I need to finish making the bed. I need to start breakfast. I need to do laundry. There's a list of things that I need to do that I don't need to, it is not dictated by your behavior. And so if we're promoting independence, right? We're promoting self-advocacy in those situations where the kiddo knows what he's doing and he's choosing not to do it. So we're not going to play that game with a child who's choosing not to do what he's supposed to be doing. We're going to continue to do what we need to do. He's going to keep engaging in attention-seeking behaviors, but he's also delaying his reinforcement. He's also delaying access to his iPad, which he could have had 3 hours ago, but because you wanted to take 4 hours to do 4 tasks, now you have less amount of time, or you're not going to be able to access your reinforcement or your iPad because of the behaviors that you engaged in. So we're all reactionary. So if you would have done A, B, C, and D, you would have had your iPad 3 hours ago. But because he didn't, now we're reacting in a manner that we haven't done in 8 years. And that was the biggest struggle today of why mom was crying. The tears came because she's fighting all that she's known. And so I held her hand and I walked her through it, through the tears. I said, hey, do this, step back. Okay, come inside. We're going to work with what we have right now because I'm also, we call it reactivity. So every time the kiddo started engaging in physical aggression with mom in these attention-seeking moments, once he noticed that my verbal aggression was no longer working, once me pounding on the walls wasn't working anymore, I'm going to hit mom. I'm going to block her. I'm going to grab her leg. But because of reactivity, which states that the behavior will change amidst of another stimuli, because he saw me present, he then stopped hitting mom and went back into his room. And so that reactivity let me know that it also is he's choosing to do what he wants to do in that situation. And in that situation, we should have no issues or concerns with reacting in a necessary manner, which is extinction, or which is planned ignoring, however you want to kind of use it in that situation. And so that aha moment today was just kind of illuminating because I haven't had one of those sessions in a while. I haven't had a session where the family is exhausted because the kiddo is choosing to engage in these behaviors and the parents feel like they have to intervene, or they feel like they have to support, or they have to assist. And I told them, no, we're not doing that anymore, because he's making a purposeful choice to do these things to disrupt order, to disrupt your peace. So I want you to turn music on Saturdays, mom. I want you to do your activities. If you need to clean your room, if you're doing laundry, if you have your list, hey, you start those. The kid knows what he has to do, A, B, C, and D every Saturday morning. And until he does those things, we're not going to provide him his reinforcement. We're going to acknowledge him if he's using functional language. We're going to acknowledge him if he's using replacement behaviors. But if he's engaging in these negative behaviors, you need to continue to do what you need to do. And telling mom that was a shock, I would say, to her system, because she also realized how maybe codependent they were together, right? And so I told mom, and I don't know how to, I guess, specifically phrase it right now, but it comes to a point of self-preservation, I would say, of knowing who you are and knowing what you are doing and how that is altering maybe someone else's behavior. And I think that mom today finally saw that her son has her on a string, and he is utilizing it, manipulating it to get what he wants from parents, which is denying her relaxation, which is denying her peace. She was so stressed throughout these 4 hours because she felt like she needed to do something when actuality she didn't. And I had to highlight that for her. I said, you don't need to help him. You don't need to coach him through this. He knows how to do all of these things. Now you're putting pressure. Now you're adding stress on your plate because of what you think that you have to do in that situation. But today proved that you don't have to do that. You finish laundry. You finish making your bed. He chose not to do A, B, C, and D. That's not your fault. So don't take that as a personal attack, as if you need to be more intrusive. No, you don't. You need to be less intrusive. You need to have him figure it out himself, because he's not going to keep calling you upstairs, downstairs, come here, do this, do that, if he knows how to do these things. And you're not going to listen to those demands that he's given because you feel like you have to, because he's your son. And so illuminating that for her, highlighting that for her in that situation, I can see took a, I don't know, chip off her shoulder, monkey off her back. She was able to breathe the world off her, shoulders. She realized, I don't have to do these things. I don't have to stress myself out. I don't have to stress myself out about my son, because he is choosing not to do things correctly. And like I said, that goes into the community as well too. When she brought it up, you cannot shade or hide or coddle or umbrella your children forever. There's a point where we have to remove that umbrella, remove that safety net, and they have to figure it out. Hopefully we've taught them enough in ABA, in home, in session, that it's able to generalize. But if it hasn't, then those natural consequences are going to kick right back in. We're going to teach again and have them try it again maybe the next day. If it's at school, if it's at work, if it's on the bus, if it's talking to a police officer, if it's talking to a grocery store clerk, if it's talking to, anybody out in the community. We put these into motion because we want you to flourish in the community. But if you're making a choice not to do that, that's not on me. And that might be a hard stance on it, but what are we to do if we've taught you? You know what to do. We've gave you the strategies. We gave you everything that we could, and you still choose not to do that. Then at that point, I'm going to lessen my stress. I'm going to remove myself from the situation. I'm going to let you figure it out, because I know you can, and you're choosing not to. And so that whole 4 hours was me coaching, me teaching, me live in vivo, working through behaviors, because I knew that, like I said, mom said the app is cool that I've used. Yeah, talking through telehealth is fine, but I really appreciate you here in person guiding me through this process, because without you, I would not have known what to do in this situation, or I would have done what I have been doing for the past 8 years, enabling my son, which is not helpful for him in the future, which is not going to aid him in the future when he does come across situations that might frustrate him, or situations that he might want to do. If the boss tells you, hey, you need to do A, B, and C, he can't break the door. He can't punch holes in the wall, because then he will get fired. Because then if he does those things, then that's not going to be socially appropriate in that scenario. So, like I said, the gratitude that they showed me just let me know that today was why I do what I do in those situations. Going through the tears, she maybe cried 4 times throughout that, but that was the release that she needed to signify, like, okay, cool, Mike is here to support. Now things must change. Now things are changing. Now things are going to go on my terms, not on my son's terms, because I've poured into him. I've given all that I can in this situation. So now we're taking the power back. Mom and dad are taking the power back. They're going to be more communicative. They're going to be less stressed in those situations, hopefully, because we are not going to be prisoners to our son's behaviors, because we've given him the tools. We've given him everything that he needs to succeed. He's choosing not to in that situation. And then the last thing on my rant, or I like to call it a filibuster, it is, as I was walking out, the kid finally accessed his iPad. He was able to gain his reinforcement at the end of everything, as I told parents, okay, it's over. Forget about it, reset, shake it out. Now we're on to the next moment. One thing I learned from my clients, especially those that have been significantly impacted by autism, is that they have a real quick memory. They have a real quick turnaround. So 2 seconds ago, you were trying to rip my clothes off, fight me, bite me, kick me, spit on me. The next moment, we're at the park on the swings, or we're coloring together right next to each other. they have a real quick switch on, okay, that moment happened, now we're on to a new moment. And so I learned that from one of my toughest clients, because I used to predicate my behavior and my energy for the next session based upon how the last session ended. So I was very, okay, man, he tried to beat my ass yesterday. He ripped my clothes, he bit me, he tried to bite me. We were, going at it for a while. I hope it's not like this tomorrow. And so my energy would rub him. He would read my energy that next day, and he would feed into that. And so I say, hey, what if I dropped it? What if I released those emotions? What if I released what I'm thinking or my expectations on the past and just focused on the present? And that was essential to my growth, not only in ABA, but in my life, is that we live in a series of moments. Yes, yesterday he tried to beat me up, but today we're going to have such a great day that we're going to go to the park, we're going to go swimming, we're going to ride skateboards together, we're going to have so much fun. That's my expectation. If it doesn't go that way, okay, then I'm going to work with what I have in the moment, and then the next day I'm going to expect greatness. If it doesn't happen the next day, okay, guess what I'm going to expect the next day? Greatness. Every single day I'm expecting perfection. I'm expecting greatness from my clients, from my consumers, from my relationships. I've altered my mindset because my kids have taught me that they're able to switch so quickly, so why can't I do the same? If my kiddos on the spectrum can let a behavior go, can let a problem go, why can't I do the same? They've taught me so much in these 10 years of practice, and I've taken that one with me, is that let it go. It happened. It's a moment. It's a moment in time. Let's focus on the next one. Let's make that one better than the previous one. And so I told parents at the very end of this, hey, shake it off, relax, turn the music up. I'm about to do that. I'm about to turn my music up, roll my windows down, and put the pedal to the metal, if that's what you want to say, right? So I'm cruising. I'm getting all this because I have another client that is expecting greatness of me. And so by wiggling it out, forgetting about it, going on to that next moment, not only are we showing our clients that we have moved on, but we're giving ourselves that grace to feel, to be in that moment, but to also release it. Because I'm not going to harp on, if they parent, and I'll say this, the parents had a wedding to attend. So if the parents are still in a funk from this morning on what happened, then maybe at the wedding, they're still maybe bickering with each other. Or at the wedding, they're still, okay, I hope he doesn't do this. Oh my God, we had such a rough morning. I hope this doesn't go wrong. I hope he doesn't engage in, flipping this table. No, let it go. As soon as I was leaving the house, I told the client, I was like, hey buddy, hey man, have a great rest of the day. I'll see you next time. All right. And he said, okay, see you later. Cool, moment is done. All that happened that prior 4 hours, I forgot about. I didn't forget about it, but as a behavior analyst, I didn't forget about it, but I released it, right? Because when I go in there next Saturday, I'm going to remember what happened, and I'm going to keep that in my memory bank, because maybe I need some new strategies to deploy to parents. Maybe I need some new strategies to deploy to little brother. And so today I just wanted to come in here and rant, and I know I've said things 2 and 3 and 4 times, and but I just think the moment today that we had with parents is one that I haven't had in a while. And I'm not one to be in front of a camera and kind of go through things that occurred, but abiding to HIPAA compliance, I felt the need to kind of express what we went through today. We went through a moment. We had a moment of breakthrough. We had a moment of clarity where mom and dad were literally like, hey, we need to change. We need to change. And for me being able to highlight that, because I tell them, hey, we're thinking big picture. We're not thinking right now. We're not thinking tomorrow. We're thinking big picture when your son is out in a high school, your son's in middle school, when your son is doing things independently outside of you guys' presence. So yeah, I'm going to be a stickler for it in home, because I can control what we do. I can control how you respond. And so that's it. Yeah, bonus clipped it up. I feel like I have so much more to say. I'm trying to remember keywords or phrases. But mom did say that moment was powerful. And I think that was one of the first times I've ever heard a mom notice the power that she actually held, of the fortitude, of the perseverance that she had as a mother. Because mothers, I'm assuming and I think, are so tuned in, are so tapped into their children where they forget about themselves. And I know I've posted on, my Instagram, the Parent Trap is parents forget about themselves so much, and that shouldn't be the way. That shouldn't be how things are. And today, I opened that window for mom. I said, no, you're going to be free. He's not going to dictate how you guys do things. Dad, he's not going to dictate how you engage with little brother. He's not going to dictate anything that you guys do in your household. We are now reacting to his behavior. I gave them antecedent and consequent strategies with replacement behaviors. We're going to react to his behavior. I'm going to do Dad, you're going to do what you needed to do today. Mom, you're going to do what you needed to do today. We're going to expect your kid to do what he needs to do today. If he doesn't, consequences will be, divvied out. If he does, positive reinforcement, consequences will still be given out, just in a positive manner, right? And so, yeah, that was it. Just wanted to take you guys through a parent training consultation that I just had, fresh on my mind. I think and I hope I got everything out. And I hope this helps someone today, where it is, hopefully they understand that their child's behavior does not take them captive, should not hold them down from doing what they need to do. That what has maybe you thought been working for so long needs an adjustment, and that's okay. Because like I've said through multiple episodes, it's trial and error through this. And what happened today with this family might not work next week, and that's why I'm going to be there to help them through it. Because I know that I believe in myself, I believe in my strategies, I believe in what I've learned, and in the interactions and scenarios that I've gone through with parents over my 10-year career has prepped me to help the next family that I work with. And so if it doesn't work, then we're going to try something else. But yeah, that's it. Like, subscribe, comment, share, all that stuff. I feel like I got so much more, but yeah, I guess it'll come out when it's supposed to. But parents, you're worthy. You're stronger than you imagined. Know yourself. Know your worth. Man, I'm here for you guys. Tap in. You guys are rock stars. You guys are great. You guys will have your moments. Reset and step into that next moment. Yeah,